welcome, welcome. If this is your first time on my channel, then welcome. If you've been here before, then welcome back. Yeah, I've got something a little bit different for you today. So I'm here at Manchester City Airport, which is formerly known as Barton Aerodrome in Manchester. My husband, as it turns out, which you don't know, is a private pilot, so this is his aircraft, and today we're going to go on a little adventure, and I thought it would be fun to take you along with us as well. Golf Charlie Charlie Delta X-Ray is a Eurostar EV97, which is a fixed-wing microlight or light sports aircraft if you're in the US. She was built in 2003 and she is powered by a single Rotex 912 engine. Steve owns a 1/5 share of Delta X-Ray and holds an NPPLM licence, which is a UK specific microlight licence. And that's Steve waving at you just now.
Clear front!
So just while we're doing the final checks before we taxi, and while we do actually taxi, I just thought that I would say a few things about Barton Aerodrome. So Barton is the UK's first purpose-built municipal airport. The airport opened in 1930 and was mainly used for commercial traffic until Runways Airport, which is now Manchester International Airport, opened. The tower, which you saw in the in front of the aircraft when we started up, is the oldest. It was built in 1933 and is believed to be the oldest in Europe that is still in use for the same purpose. The tower, along with the large main hangar, which you saw in the background of some of the earlier shots, the big black hangar behind us, which is known as the Pemberton Hangar, although no one at the airport actually seems to call it that, as well as the original terminal building, are all Grade 2 listed buildings. So you can see the tower to the left of the shot there. This is us just taxiing to the holding point where Steve will do final power checks before we request departure from the airport. Barton Airport has 4 grass runways, so you can kind of see to the right there that somebody's just landed and is turning onto the taxiway. The runways at Barton are 26, 08, 02 and 20. That basically refers to the heading of the runway, the direction of the runway. So 08 and 26 are a single runway, although actually there's a left and a right, which means that there are 2 sides in use on that runway. 26 and 08 is effectively the same strip of grass. And 02 and 20 are the same strip of grass. It's basically opposite directions. So we'll be taking off today from 08 left, I think we end up taking off from. So this was quite a busy day at Barton. You can see there's quite a few of us just lining up on this taxi. We all followed each other out. This is because being a weekend day, this was Sunday, last Sunday the 30th, I think it was. So being a weekend day, being quite a day for nice weather, that there were a lot of people getting out, flying. Obviously, being in the UK, we are very much a victim to the weather, and especially being in the northwest, because the cloud base has to be high enough to fly, the wind speed and direction has to be acceptable to fly, You can fly in rain, although heavy rain obviously isn't good because you need to be able to see, and the cloud base is usually a lot lower as well. So we don't always get favourable weather, which means that when we do get good weather, everybody wants to fly. So we're just about to take off now, moving across to the runway. Airborne. The Eurostar EV97 is quite lightweight aircraft, being a microlight, which means that the takeoff is usually quite quick, even with 2 people, including me being a slightly heavier person, on board. Taking off in this direction, that's Manchester ahead of the aircraft, and we'll shortly be making a turn to head away from the airport. We're just about to land, and you can see that we go around, so we carried on and went back up and went around, and that's because this particular day the air was quite unstable, which meant that it was shifting around the direction and the speed was changing quite a lot, and we got caught by a little bit of wind shear, so rather than attempt the landing, Steve carried on. So you can see now that we have actually landed, and it's quite some distance from the runway to the parking. So hence why I left this speeded up. So we made it, didn't we?
We made it.
Just about.
We'll not talk about landings.
We'll not talk about the landings.
Plural.
No. So here we are. We're actually at Blackpool at the moment. This is the I don't know, what would you call it? The
beach.
The tail end,
yeah,
maybe, or the start of, I don't know, of Blackpool Beach. So behind me is where the aircraft come in to land. Unfortunately, they're in and around right now, which is just typical. But we got here and then we went and had some lunch, didn't we?
We did at the Dunes Cafe. It was very nice.
Yeah, it was very nice. Recommend that. It's literally just a few metres from the beach. It's really good. So we made it here. I'm and then we're going to have a little walk along this beach, and then maybe walk back, because we probably should collect the aircraft at some point.
We probably should.
And then we're going to decide whether or not we're going to fly somewhere else before we go home. Yeah, so there you go. And by the way, if you're admiring my sunnies, these are my running sunnies. They're made by Gooder, not a product placement, not sponsored, but they're called Swedish Meatball Hangover because they're yellow and blue. So there you go. So one of the nice things about this particular section of beach is that obviously when the aircraft are landing, I forget which runway designation it is, but on this particular day, the direction they were landing, they land over the beach, so it's quite a good place to plane spot if that's your thing. So we're back in the aircraft now and obviously taxiing back out to take off. On this particular day, the Nhs Spitfire was touring the northwest, and you can actually see the Spitfire parked up ahead. We were both lined up at the holding point doing power checks and waiting to depart. It was quite a busy day at Blackpool. Obviously there were a lot of aircraft up anyway, and I think quite a lot of aircraft visited because the Spitfire was there. So there was a lot landing, and you can see the aircraft there to the left. So yeah, we actually got to park up next to the Spitfire, and in a moment you'll see it take off. There it goes, which was a real privilege and something that made this particular day just a little bit special. Our original plan then for the rest of the day was that we were going to head north toward the Lake District and fly over the Lake District. Unfortunately, by the time that we left in the afternoon, the cloud base had dropped, the cloud cover had increased. So even though we were flying at around 2,000 feet, the clouds really weren't very high above us, and we needed about 3,500 feet to be able to clear the hill. So you see us there turn around and head back towards Barton. Basically what we did heading back was we tracked the M6. The plan was to track the M6 north up to the Lake District, so we just turned around, did a 180 and tracked the M6 back towards Manchester. And you'll see coming up ahead, the urban centre there is Preston. And then shortly after that we fly over Chorley and the Chorley Lakes, as they're referred to, Rivington Reservoir and what have you, and then Bolton. So just while we're tracking back towards Manchester, with the Chorley Lakes just past on the left and Middlebrook Stadium just below us there, I just wanted to take a moment. If you don't know, the Nhs Spitfire is basically one of the restored Spitfires. It's painted in the iconic blue colouring of the RAF, and it has "Thank You NHS" painted on the underside of the wings. It's been touring around the UK, flying over various hospitals, and currently has about 80,000 names handwritten on the aircraft in tribute to the NHS staff that have looked after us all during the pandemic. And I believe they raised around £30,000 for the Spitfire for the NHS charities from their Just Giving site. So if I can find the link to that, I will link it down below. If you would like to contribute, then I'm sure that those charities would be very, very grateful for that contribution. So we've arrived back at Barton now. We're basically coming into in the circuit, ready to land. So you can see Manchester up ahead of us at this point, and we will shortly make a turn and then turn again onto final approach for the runway. So by the time that we'd been out and come back, we were actually landing on runway 26 left, I believe it was. So it's the same, basically the same strip of grass, but landing in the opposite direction. And actually, I love landing on this particular runway because you get these great views of Manchester. You can see the city centre in the background there. And as we make the turn, you'll see some of the places that are particularly iconic on this side of Manchester. So the Trafford Centre and the ski slope that used to be called Chill Factor E. I can't remember what it's called now. I really can't remember, but the ski slope obviously is there, and then actually landing in this direction is so enjoyable because of the views, and because obviously you get a really good look at the airport as well. You get to see all the hangars and stuff as you land onto the runway. So you can see there directly ahead of us is the Trafford Centre, and when we make a turn in a moment, you'll see the sort of angled building with the flat top just there, and that is the ski slope, the artificial ski slope. So we've turned on to final now. We'll shortly be landing. I'll leave you with the music for the rest of the video. I just wanted to say I hope that you've really enjoyed it. And you know, this is just one of the things that we occasionally get to do. My husband flies quite frequently, and I occasionally get to go with him. I always enjoy it when we do go out in the aircraft. So I thought on this particular day, why not take you guys along, and you can get a taste for it. If you have enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you would hit the like button, and obviously share it around with your friends and family and what have you. If you're new here and haven't already done so, it would be great if you would consider subscribing. So I'll leave you with the music and the landing for the final part of this video, and I will catch you next week. Thanks, bye bye.